Hello, assalamu alaikum. This is Mehrunasa Shapla with you once again. My dear students, I hope everybody is safe and sound. Today, my target people will be the students of HSC level, that is, the students of class 11 and 12. I have come before you, especially before the students of class 11 and 12, after a long time. Because of COVID-19 pandemic, our classes have been postponed as the college has been closed for many days, and that is why our honorable principal sir, Professor Bedora bint Habib, instructed us to run the online classes in order to keep the regular flow of your studies. So, my dear students, today, I took several classes on the rules of transformation of sentences. That means I completed the rules of changing simple, complex, compound, assertive, interrogative, exclamatory, and vice versa, and the rules of degree of comparison. And today I will start the class, another category. I have left another category of transformation of sentences, that is voice, and today I will start the class with the rules of changing voice. So, my dear students, let's start the class. So, dear students, welcome to my class. There is an introduction of myself. Here I'll show you the name of the topic, that is voice. It is taken from English second paper, and in this slide I'll talk about voice, the rules of changing voice. Voice is of two types. One is active voice and another one is passive voice. The structure of active voice is very simple, that is the subject, the main verb, and object. And the structure of passive voice is the first one is, there are some basic features of passive voice. Number one is the subject, that is the object of the active voice. Subject is the object of the active voice. And then auxiliary or the helping verb should be written. And after that, past participle form of the main verb should be written. And then we have to write preposition. Preposition should be by, at, with, to. And after that, we have to write object. Object should be the subject of the active voice. That means the subject of the passive voice is the object of the active voice, and object of the passive voice is subject of the active voice. For example, I wrote an essay on food adulteration. Here, this is an example of active voice. Here I have written this sentence in the passive form like this way: an essay on food adulteration was written by me. Here, the first thing, that is, I have to find out the object of the sentence. In this sentence, an essay is the object, because if someone asks me that what did you write, and I should reply that an essay. So essay is the object of this sentence. So I wrote an essay on food adulteration. Here, an essay is the subject of the passive voice. An essay on food adulteration was written, that is helping verb, then the past participle form of the main verb written, and then preposition by, and then I have written the object, that is the subject of the active voice I should be changed into the object of the passive voice. That means we have to write the objective form of the subject. So me is the objective form of the subject. So here is a point to be noted, that without having an object we cannot make passive voice, or we cannot change active voice into passive voice. So now the question is, how can we find out the object? So this is very simple task. If we make questions with what or whom, and if we can answer those questions, the answer of the question is the object of the sentence. For example, what did you write? As I have said earlier, that I wrote an essay on food adulteration. If someone asks me what did you write, and I will say an essay. So an essay is the object of this sentence. Okay, so some points should be noted to make active, to change the active into passive form, that is tenses. That means the students should learn the structures of the tenses, and they should know the verbs should be plural if the subjects are in the plural forms. And another important thing is objective forms of the pronouns. I, he, she, you, they, it, these personal pronouns are usually used in the active voice. And so you should know that the objective form of I is me, the objective form is he is him, she, her, you, they, them, it, its. Okay. In this slide, I will talk about the structure of tense in active form and in the passive form as well. In the first slide, I will talk about three indefinite tenses like present indefinite, past indefinite, and future indefinite. So the structure of the present indefinite tense in the active voice is subject, then present form of the verb, and object. And in the passive form, the subject. This object should be the subject of the passive voice. Then I should write the be verb or helping verb, as it is an example of present indefinite. It is a structure of present indefinite. I must write the helping verb like am, is, are, then past participle form of the main verb, and then preposition, and after that I should write the object, and object should be the subject of the active voice. And the second one is past indefinite. In the past indefinite, the structure is subject, the past form of the verb, and object. But in the passive form, again the subject, the object of the past indefinite tense or the active voice is the subject of the passive form, and then the helping verb should be was, where, as it is past indefinite tense, and then the main verb should be in the past participle form, then preposition, and then object. And future indefinite tense in the active form is subject, then modal auxiliary like shall, will, then object. And in the passive form, the structure is subject, shall be, will be, then past participle form of the main verb, and then preposition, and after that we should write object. Here I have written three examples. That is, number one is the example of present indefinite, that is, my father often buys lots of books for me. So first thing that I should find out the object of this sentence. The object of this sentence is lots of books. So lots of books should be the subject of the passive form. That is, lots of books are often bought for me by my father. So lots of books, then the helping verb is used, that is are, then the past participle form of the main verb, buy is the main verb, and the past participle form of buy is bought for me by, that is preposition, and the subject of the active voice, that is my father. And then the second example is, I plucked a flower from the garden. This is an example of past indefinite tense. I plucked a flower from the garden. Here a flower is the object and I is the subject. So a flower, this object should be the subject of the passive voice. Like a flower, as it is an example of past indefinite tense. So here the helping verb should be was. A flower was plucked. Plucked is in the past participle form. A flower was plucked from the garden by me. Here you just notice carefully that I have written me. Me is the objective form of I. he will phone you. This is an example of future indefinite tense. This is in the active form. So here he is the subject and you is the object. So you will be the subject of the passive voice. So here you, that will be, the structure is shall be or will be. You will be phoned. Phoned is the phoned is in the present participle, past participle form, phoned, and then preposition by and him. Him is the objective form of the subject he. Okay, so these are all about the indefinite tenses in the passive voice. Okay, in this slide I will show you another table for the continuous tenses. Here I have written three structures, that is present continuous, past continuous and future continuous in the active voice. Just look at the structure of present continuous: subject, then amuser, then verb ing and object. This is the structure in the active voice. Okay, so in the passive voice, what should I do is I should write subject first, that this subject is the object of the active voice. So subject, then the helping verb amuser. The helping verb is given already, has already been given in the examples. I'll talk about the examples next. So look at the structure. So subject, then amuser, then being. So why should I write being? Verb with ing cannot be changed into past participle form. That is why ing is added to be verb, that means being. And then you can change the main verb into past participle form, and after the preposition and object. And the structure is structure of past continuous in the active form is subject, was, were, and verb ing and object. And again, this object should be the subject of the passive voice, that is subject, then was, were, and again being, because here verb ing is in the structure. So this ing is added to the be verb, being, and then the past participle form of the main verb. After that I have written preposition and object. And the future continuous tense in the active voice is subject, shall or will, then be or shall be or will be, verb ing and object. Here again this object is the subject of the passive voice, and shall be or will be should be written, and after that being. If there is verb ing, being is used, or being must be used in the passive form. Okay, or verb ing must be added to be verb in the passive form. Okay, then the past participle form of the main verb is written here, and then preposition, and I have written the object. Okay, so look at the example. Here I have written three examples. I'm watching a horror movie. I'm watching a horror movie. A horror movie is an object here. So a horror movie should be the subject of the passive voice. So a horror movie is being watched by me. I have written being here, as I have said that ing should be added to be verb, and the main verb should be changed into the past participle form. So horror movie is being watched by me. I was watching a horror movie. A horror movie was being watched by me. And I shall be watching a horror movie tonight. A horror movie will be being watched by me tonight. Okay. Okay, so in this slide I will show you another table, and in this table I'll talk about the perfect tenses. Okay, the perfect tenses, that is the present perfect, past perfect and future perfect. Present perfect in the active voice is subject, have or has, past participle form of the main verb, then object. Past perfect tense in the active form is subject, had, past participle form of the verb and object. And future perfect is subject, shall have or will have, past participle form of the main verb and object. So in the passive voice, the present perfect should be changed into in this way, like subject, have been or has been, then the past participle form of the main verb, then preposition like by, at, with, to, and object. The past perfect should be changed like this way. In the passive form, subject, had been, past participle form of the verb, and preposition and object. Future perfect, subject, shall have or will have, past participle form of the verb and then object. In the passive form, subject shall have been or will have been, then again past participle form of the verb, preposition by, at, with, to, or object. So look at the examples of these three tenses. That is, I have given him a storybook. You know, a storybook is an object of this sentence, and him is also another object of this sentence. So here I use him as a subject of the passive voice. That means the subjective form of him, that is he, is the passive, is the subject of the passive voice. That is, he has been given a storybook by me. He has been given a storybook by me. He had taken his wife to hospital. This is the example of past perfect tense. So his wife had been taken to hospital by him. Here I have used had been. And he will have helped the poor. He will have helped the poor. Here the poor is the object. So subject, here the subject is the poor of the passive voice. The poor will have been helped by him. So in the perfect tense, been is always used. Been is always used, whether it is present perfect or past perfect or future perfect. So this is all about the 9 tenses. 9 tenses, the structure of the tenses, and what should be the structure of these tenses in the passive form. So my dear students, these are all about the rules of passive, basic features of the passive voice according to the structure of the tenses. So follow the rules, learn them, and practice more. In the next class, I will talk about the structure of sentences, how can we change the assertive sentences or interrogative sentences or imperative sentences into passive voice. I will talk about all those rules, and you just follow the rules that I have talked today. Stay fine and stay safe as usual, and that is all for today. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.